Hi, my name is Dave Bodie for PremiumBeat.com, and in this lighting series, we will be covering a variety of lighting instruments, lighting support, modifiers, tools, and accessories, and we will be going over a few different lighting setups. In this video, we will be talking about incandescent lighting instruments. An incandescent light bulb, incandescent lamp, or incandescent light globe is an electric light which produces light with a filament wire heated to a high temperature by an electric current passing through it until it glows. Sometimes these bulbs or lamps are referred to as tungsten, quartz, or halogen lamps. Incandescent bulbs are much less efficient than most other types of lighting. Most incandescent bulbs convert less than 5% of the energy they use into visible light, and the remaining 95% of the energy is converted into heat. That's why they have the nickname hot lights, because they get very, very hot. Because of the heat, it's always a good idea to use gloves with these lights. Despite their inefficiency, incandescent light bulbs have an advantage in applications where accurate color reproduction is important, since the light emitted from an incandescent light bulb has a near-perfect color rendition, with a color rendering index of 100, which is the best possible. The color rendering performance of LEDs and fluorescent lights cannot compete with the perfect color you get from an incandescent. Although they are getting better, they often require additional adjustments to reduce, for example, the green-magenta color cast. And even when properly white balanced, the color reproduction will not be perfect. White balancing for incandescent is still required to avoid a picture that is too warm or too cool, but this is as simple as changing your camera's white balance to incandescent or 3200K. Incandescent lights are also almost always hard lights because the filament is small relative to humans. They can be made softer by bouncing and using diffusion, but softening up a hard light results in a loss of output. Bulb life is another thing to keep in mind with incandescent lights. Most of the lights for video applications will have a relatively short lifespan. Some are as low as 100 hours, some around 300 to 400 hours, and there are some long life lamps that can last as long as 1,500 to 2,000 hours, with the side effect of having a reduced color temperature, usually around 3,000 K. There are several types of lights that use an incandescent lamp. A Fresnel is very common in stage and video productions. They are called a Fresnel because they use a Fresnel lens, which has a distinctive stepped molding on the front and a texturing on the back. This lens results in a beam that is relatively even with a soft edge. Soft edge means the center of the beam is bright and gradually darkens towards the edges. This can be useful if you need to blend with the edges of other Fresnels to give a smooth coverage or wash. By moving the lamp closer or further away from the lens, you can go from a spot to a flood beam pattern, which makes them quite versatile. Traditionally, Fresnels have been a tungsten or HMI-based lighting instrument, but some companies have developed LED Fresnels that are very flexible, but also very expensive. Common sizes for these are 150, 300, 650, and 1000 watt. It's also worth noting that you should never touch a tungsten lamp or incandescent lamp or bulb with your bare fingers or skin. The oil left on the bulb will attract heat and cause the lamp to fail prematurely. And always make sure the lamp is cool before you touch it. On the front of the unit, there's usually slots for using gel or filter frames, or a barn door. The barn doors help shape the light, and on a Fresnel, they aren't super precise, so they usually retain a soft edge. The barn doors can be rotated to get a better positioning, and some will have a slot behind the barn door for a gel frame to fit into. Fresnels can be used directly on your subject, on a background, and shot through diffusion or bounced to get a softer light. You can also place objects in front of the light to break up the beam and give the impression that the light is shooting through a window or leaves or just creating an interesting pattern. These objects are called cookies or gobos, and they can really help to give a sense of realism to lighting backgrounds. We will be looking at several products from Lowell in this series. Lowell specializes in location lighting, but also has equipment designed specifically for studio production and video conferencing applications. Their location lighting gear is very compact, reliable, easy to use, and priced really reasonably. They are a fantastic option for productions that are on the move. This is a Lowell Pro light, and it's one of my most favorite lights. This light acts like a Fresnel, but instead it uses a prismatic lens that has a variable beam so that it can go from spot to flood. The beam is not quite as even as a true Fresnel, but it is punchy for a 200-watt light. I like it because it's a great value, very light, quite small, and versatile. Frequently, I will use this at the end of a boom stand as a hair light or kicker, but it can be used for just about anything. I take one of these on almost every shoot. Open face or focused flood style lights are another popular incandescent lighting instrument. An open face light doesn't have any lensing system, it's just a bulb and a reflector. This Omni light from Lowell is a focused flood style light that has a setup where the lamp can be moved in relationship to the reflector, resulting in a beam that can be varied from spot to flood. Because of the somewhat simplistic nature of the design, the beam is not very precise. Most of the light is concentrated in the center of the beam and then just kind of falls off in intensity as you move outward. With the barn doors attached, you can shape the light and clean up a good portion of the spill. These lights can be used for just about anything: a key light, a fill light, background light, ambient light, or a hair light or kicker. You'll want to be careful of how close you get this light to any surfaces or objects. At close distances, the beam can carry enough heat to cause damage and burn. This light also has a bunch of accessories like scrims, snoots, glass filters, umbrellas, gel frames, and more. This is a Toda light from Lowell and is even more simplistic. This is just a lamp and a reflector with some adjustable reflectors to provide a bit of control. The beam on this light is not super even, but it provides a lot of punch for not much money. It's also a very small light, and you can fit 3 of them into a very small case with cables and accessories. These simple non-focusable lights are good to bounce off a bounce card, reflector, beadboard, or even a wall. This is another light that you'll want to be careful about how close you get it to anything because of the intense heat generated. Bouncing this light or shooting it through diffusion will create a nice soft light, even though it doesn't have a lot of control over where the light spills. With a bit of diffusion, you can also use this light for a key or a fill. It also works well to boost ambient light, light up a background, or as a hair light or kicker.